Namaste and good morning. How are you today? Good. Today we will handle one of the very important aspects of Indian classical dance styles and one of the treatises which has nourished and nurtured almost all dance styles of India. Can you guess what I am talking about? Yes, we shall go into some details of Geeta Govindam, because you all have some point of time in your previous studies have learnt and understood a bit about Geeta Govindam. But at this juncture in master's level, you must know in detail what Geeta Govindam stands for, not just its Ashtapadis and songs, but the symbolism in Geeta Govindam and how Jayadeva created the Geeta Govindam and the issues concerned there. Sri Jayadev was known as Sri Jayadev Goswami. Kodaganga Dev, the founder of Ganga dynasty, essentially followed Vaishnavism. He and his son were deeply influenced by the Vaishnavite saint philosopher Ramanuja. But before Ganga ruled, the place was influenced by Shaiva and Shakta worshippers. The Ganga dynasty's policy of religious tolerance towards the southern kingdoms aided both Shaiva and Vaishnava faiths, with many scholars thronging to Orissa. Since the Gangas were great patrons of art and music, it was but natural that Jayadeva, who lived in their age, blossomed into an inspirational composer. His high point, though, is that in Geeta Govinda, he has merged many of the sects by portraying an amalgam of different Vaishnava cults, such as the Vishnu cult, the Krishna cult, the Govinda cult. He was also daring enough to show a confluence or coming together of the Radha and Krishna cult, something not accepted at that time. Who was Jayadeva and what was his times? You would wonder, right? Yes. Jayadev Goswami made his appearance as Kendubilva Gram within the district of Birbhum in today's Bengal during the 12th and 13th century. Some scholars believe that Jayadev was a court pandit during the reign of Raja Lakshman Sen of Gauda. His father's name was Bhojdev and his mother's name was Radha Devi. At an early age, Jayadev embraced Vairagya and migrated to Purushottam Kshetra, that is Jagannath Puri, after visiting many holy places. He lived there by offering seva to Purushottama. A certain childless Brahman worshipped Lord Jagannath and was blessed with a daughter who was named Padmavati. When she grew up, the Brahman received a command from the Lord asking him to give Padmavati in marriage to Jayadev. Despite Jayadev's reluctance, he had no other alternative but to marry Padmavati and become a householder again. He then installed a deity of Narayana in the house, to which both Padmavati and Jayadeva were completely devoted. While floating on the waves of Krishna Prema, he composed the book of verses entitled Geeta Govinda. While Jayadev was writing this book, he had described various rasas and bhava within his writings. While writing about the pastime of Radharani as she represented after Krishna had gone away, Jayadev became lost in thought. He did not have the courage to depict Lord Krishna, the Jagatpati, Param Purusha, touching the feet of Radha, the Prakriti. Not being able to decide whether or not he should write that particular verse regarding Krishna Becoming the servant of his devotee, he decided to first take his bath and then return to writing. While Jayadev was taking his bath, Jagannath himself personally appeared in the form of Jayadeva. His very own hand he wrote down the verse Dahipada Pala Vamana Mudaram in Jayadeva's manuscript book, the same verse which Jayadev had been considering whether to write or not. And now let us look at the popularity and spread of the Gita Govinda. After knowing how it got written with the God's hands, we should go and study this. Gita Govinda quickly became the joy of Vaishnava community. Sri Gita Govinda is full of intimate pastimes of Sri Radha Govinda and is therefore meant for those who have acquired sufficient spiritual piety, and the Gita Govinda itself states. For those who relish the remembrance of pastime of Sri Hari and are always anxious to hear those transcendental divine narrations, these verses, sweet as honey, have been composed by Jayadeva with the blessings of Mother Saraswati. At the time, Gajapati Purushottam Deva was the provincial king. He was openly envious of Jayadev and soon posed an ill-fated challenge. The king considered himself a master poet on par with Jayadev and composed a work called Abhinav Gita Govinda. One day he summoned his advisers and asked him to widely circulate his work in an attempt to make it more popular than Jayadev's. A controversy soon arose, and the Brahmanas decided that the matter would be settled by placing both manuscripts before the deity of Lord Jagannath for the night. When the devotees went to greet the deity next day, they found Jayadev's Gita Govind clasped against the deity's chest and the king's manuscript scattered about the floor. The decision was very clear. It is recorded in Bhaktamala that Krishna took pity on Jayadev, who was trying to build his cottage under the searing sun. He began to drill holes in covering the sheets, with the work getting done in no time. Only later Jayadev realized that he was helped by Lord Hari and offered humble prayers to him with renewed devotion. It is believed that when Padmavati died on hearing a rumor that Jayadev was no more, Jayadev himself received her by chanting the holy name in her ear. Soon after, Jayadev went to Vrindavan with his deity Radha Madhav and stayed at the Kashi Ghat, where a devotee constructed a temple for the Lord. During the last stage of his life, Jayadev returned to his home at Kenduli and lived there till the end. It is said that Jayadev used to go for bath in Ganges daily about 36 miles away from Kenduli. One day he was unable to do so, and to alleviate the distress of her devotee, Ganga Devi came roaring in a stream up to the village. Jayadev breathed his last at Kenduli village on Paush Sankranti. In his memory, a mela is held every year, which more than 50,000 devotees attend. Jayadev's numerous contributions are to be noted. The fame of Gita Govinda spread wide and wide. The book has been translated into Hindi, Bengali, Oriya, Assamese, and also in many other foreign languages. The following persons have written commentaries on Gita Govinda: Udayan Acharya, Kamalakar, Kumbhakarna Mahendra, Krishna Datta, Krishna Das, Gopal, Chaitanya Das, Narayan Bhatta, Narayan Das, Pitambar, Bhagavad Das, Bhavacharya, Manika, Ramaratna, Dikshita, Vishweshwara Bhatta, Shankara Mishra, Sri Harsha, Hridaya Varnan and others. Beside this, two books of Tika entitled Valo Vinodini and Vachana Malika, they are the treatise and the commentaries by some unknown authors are also available on Geet Govinda. Jayadev Goswami also composed a book named Chandraloka. Many English translations, the sacred and the profane and such, are also of Gita Govinda. Apart from the Geet Govinda, Jayadev popularized Dashavatara, the 10 incarnations of Vishnu, in another composition, Dashakriti Kriti. Two hymns, possibly composed by Jayadev, have been incorporated in the Guru Granth Sahib, the holy book of the Sikh religion. The hymns are written in a mixture of Sanskrit and Eastern Apabhramsha. There are records narrating how Jayadeva's work had a profound influence on Guru Nanak during his visit to Puri. Furthermore, many credit the popularity of the classic Tribhangi, that is threefold posture of Krishna playing the flute to Sri Jayadeva. He also institutionalized the Devadasi system in Oriya temples. Devadasis were common women dancers, specially dedicated. Repeat the paragraph. Furthermore, many credit the popularity of the classic Tribhangi, the threefold posture of Krishna playing the flute, to Kavi Jayadeva. He also institutionalized the Devadasi system in Oriya temples. Devadasis were women dancers, specially dedicated to the temple deity, and as a result of the great poet's work, Oriya temples began to incorporate a separate Natamandira or dance hall within their precincts for Odissi performances. So, the symbolism of Gita Govinda, first is the union of the individual self with the universal self. Jiva Brahma Aikya Vedanta Rahasya, or the union of the individual soul with the universal soul, is in brief the theme and essence of Gita Govinda. Radha, the Nayaki or Jivatma, Krishna, the Nayaka or Paramatma, and Sakhi, the friend or the preceptor who leads the devotee to the path of mukti or liberation, are the main three characters of this poem, right? The mutual love of Radha and Krishna represent the concept of Madhura Bhakti, that is the adoration of the God, which is the essence of Vaishnava cult. In a departure from standard religious texts, Gita Govinda is not centered on the God, but it is on the relationship between Radha, the human, and Krishna, the superhuman character. This is the story of two opposites merging together. The initial situation, conflict, is shown through the eyes of Radha, then Krishna, then Sakhi, who is the go-between Radha and Krishna, and finally all gopis. Life and environment represented by the Sakhi, gopis, forest and seasons, all are necessary to understand what is right and what is wrong. Human love sublimated to utmost level, so it becomes comparable with the love to God. This story is told by the poet, his wife and the God himself. John Higgins, in his book The Music of Bharatanatyam, defines love as Hindu conception of love as both passion and freedom from passion. When the tide of unfulfilled passion threatens to overwhelm her, the heroine seeks refuge in the state of spiritual tranquility, altogether free of distress. The implication seems to be that one may acquire real knowledge of God by first undertaking the tortuous search for human love. Mutual ecstasy of impassioned lovers is the only experience comparable to the final union with the God. In the embrace of his beloved, a man forgets the whole world, everything both within and without. Thus, Krishna sporting with the gopis has two sides. He appears to be as the one who experiences romantic love, the most exalted experience in life, and who gives experience of romantic love in its highest and the most intense form. In Jayadeva's environment of springtime, Sarasa Vasanta Samaya, Radha and Krishna are vehicles, Vibhava, for the universalization of erotic Shringar Rasa. These youthful figures with gleaming flesh and lotus petal eyes manifest signs of emotion, Vyabhichari Bhava, Sattvika Bhava, to communicate the passion of their union and separation. For Jayadeva, their longing and union is the concrete example of religious experience in which disquieting distinction between I, mine versus you and yours is calmed. It's calmed. The ascetic experience of their love is the means for breaking the imaginary barrier dividing humans from divine. Dr. Pappu Venugopal explains the meaning of bhakti in the context of Gita Govinda as such. He says, Narad in his Bhakti Sutra defines bhakti as the fear of being separated again. Punarvisheshla Bhirutvam Param Bhakti Ruchyate. This means that once you feel closer to the God, you don't want any distinction from Him. That is bhakti. Jayadeva's Ashtapadi expressed the intimate power of the divine love in contrast to the Ras Leela, where devotion to the God is part of social intercourse and God showers benevolence on all devotees without any distinctions. It's very important for you all to understand this sukshma, minute analysis of Gita Govinda for it to take further in your abhinaya. Because unless you are able to put distinction between this love and that love, your dance would not flower up the way Gita Govinda is supposed to. Rasa Leela or Rasa Krida. The point of God playing with feeling of human being is to evoke hidden power of love, to let it pour out free in all intensity and to direct this power to highest level of existence. Another side of Leela or the play is the emergence of creative due to the release from boundaries of necessary. According to Hindu beliefs, such human belongs to divine sphere. Free spirit creates not because of necessary, but because creation is its nature. He seeks no purpose, no reward, no goal. In Hindu cult, particularly in bhakti cults, the mark of a great devotee is often the uselessness of his life. Saints do not act according to the laws of cause and effect, so their actions appear motiveless and aimless. Indeed, they are in many ways like the gods because they do not work but play. The saints have transcended the human conditions and have entered the divine sphere, and an important indication of this fact is the spontaneous and superfluous nature of their lives. As in the Ras Leela, you will see Krishna with cowherd girls. Gopis are embodiment of plurality. God is the unity and the gopis are parts of the unity. God recreates himself and the formlessness or one form is seen in the multiple forms and emerges back in the formless or the one form. This is the symbolism of Ras Leela. Krishna as cowherd is spontaneous, irresponsible and free. So his love for the cowgirls, free and voluntary. His whole life among the cowgirls is simple, natural and pleasing. Cowgirls adore Krishna as through him they feel all pleasures of life and sheer joy of being alive. Krishna's flute symbolizes the call of God, which caused the souls of men, the cowgirls, to forsake their worldly attachments and rush to love him. In the circular dance of Ras Leela, by inducing every gopi to think that she and she alone was his partner, Krishna was proving how God is available to all. In deserting their husbands and homes and willfully committing adultery, Radha and the gopis were therefore setting God above home and duty. They were leaving everything for love of God and surrendering their honor. They providing the most potent symbol of what devotion means. Radha, the name of Radha is derived from Sanskrit Radhas, which is Vedic literature means perfection, success, wealth. Thus, Krishna became the Lord of success, Radhaspati, by winning Radha, the female personification of Radhas. There are no direct references to Radha in Harivamsha, Vishnu Puran and Bhagavad Puran. Radha is mentioned by name and referred to in Brahma Vaivarta and Padma Puran, which is written later after 12th century. In Geet Govindam, Radha is neither as wife nor as a worshipping rustic playmate. She is an intense, solitary, proud female who complements and reflects the mood of Krishna's passion. She is Krishna's partner in a secret and exclusive love. Contrasted in the poem with the circular Ras dance, Krishna performs with the entire group of gopis. Krishna disappears after this dance, deserting the cowherdnesses, but he stays with Radha to admire and ornament her. Her relationship with Krishna culminates in their union and mutual victory, Jaya, over each other. In Jayadev's view, the profound intimacy of Krishna's concentration on Radha, in contrast with the diffusion of erotic energy in his play with the gopis or the cowherdesses, is the perfection of Krishna's nature. Radha's personality itself makes her to fall in love, suffer torture of ambivalent feelings, and finally, empowered with love and attachment to her beloved, to overcome possessive and illusionary intentions and reunite with her beloved on the higher level of understanding. Here, Sakhi comes into picture. Intensity of love relationship supersedes all other connections, parents, relatives. Yet, close friendship with somebody who understands you better than yourself is a special relationship. That is the Sakhi, who knows everything about you and still loves you. Now Sakhi supports Radha's steps back to her beloved, this time in real life. Thus, the context of the plot of Geet Govinda is given, and there the drama begins. The story of Radha and Krishna, estrangement caused by his love for other girls, Radha's anguish and Krishna's neglect, Radha's sorrow and Krishna's regret, Radha's withdrawal and Krishna's remorse, and finally, the mutual rapture of the two, which brings them back to each other, making thus their love complete. So, as you see here, the understanding of Krishna, Radha, the relationship between the two of love and union is a must for doing and performing and learning any Ashtapadi. Now we go further to the what is the significance of Dashavtaram as the Purvaranga. It is said that the God creates this world, enter into it, and like an actor who assumes different roles on the stage, performs various acts. This is said in Bhagavad Puran. Jayadev, who is also one of the names of Vishnu, meaning Lord of Triumph, composed his poem to be danced before Lord Jagannath at Puri. The poem was composed purposefully for being staged as a full-fledged dance drama. The inscriptions certify this fact. Gajapati rural Prataparudra Deva in inscription at Jagannath temple of 1499 AD states that Geeta Govindam Nat should be performed before the deity by dancing girls. Dashavtar Ashtapadi appears at the beginning of the poem and forms Purvaranga of the dance drama. In refrain of Dashavatari Ashtapadi, the Lord is addressed as Jagadisha, which means Lord of the world, and indicates Krishna as cosmic supreme soul. Puranas describe the use, dance, drama, music, etc. to appease the gods. Bharata Muni says that drama is the best service one can offer to Vishnu. The gods are never so pleased on being worshipped with scent and garlands as they are delighted with the performance of the drama, is written in Natya Shastra. In Bhagavad Puran, Vishnu says that the devotees should on festive and religious occasions enact his leelas, that is, playful activities often denoting dances, before his image in the temple. Correspondingly, temple worship ritual comprised dramatic performance via dance and music. Thus, worship of Dashavtar influenced and fostered development of numerous dramatic forms. Now, we also should look into the structure and form of the Geet Govinda. As you very well know, Ashtapadi of Geet Govindam are examples of ancient prabandhas, compositions which were used in ancient Sanskrit dramas. Unique character of this poetical composition is that it was composed specially to be staged as dance drama. Jayadeva mentions the names of the ragas and the talas of each Ashtapadi. There are 72 verses included in the Geet Govinda, followed by 24 Ashtapadis. Each Ashtapadi is started with a Dhruvapad, one of the 5 essential anga or constituent parts of a prabandha. This kind of corresponds to Pallavi, refrain in the Carnatic music. This is followed by 8 pada stanzas, which corresponds to maybe the charana or the couplets of the song. In the last stanza, the name of author Jayadeva is always given. This is also very old tradition prescribed by the rules of Prabandha and adhered up to our time, as mudra of the composer is usually mentioned in the last line of Anupallavi, which serves as a connecting couplet in Carnatic compositions. 19 of 20 Ashtapadis are set to 4-beat meters, lines of 7/4 measures, that is 7 by 4. 5 Ashtapadis are set to 3 5-beat measures, but the first line of each couplet is lengthened by the addition of a final heavy syllable. Synopsis of Geet Govinda is very brief and simple. Radha sees Krishna singing and dancing in the company of other gopis. Heartbroken at that his neglect, she sends her Sakhi, companion, to ask him to come to her. Meanwhile, Krishna also realizes his mistakes and longs for to be reunited with Radha. But in her loneliness, Radha is forgetting. She is happy in the company of another gopi. Angered by this stuff, she rejects her beloved Krishna when he comes to her. Radha Sakhi is shocked by this childish behavior and upbraids her. Radha then realizes her mistake and is reunited with Krishna. This is a very short, brief story that is creating this beautiful poetry of Geet Govinda, and which is performed by almost all classical dancers across all dance styles, be it Manipuri, be it Odissi, Bharatanatyam, Mohiniyattam. Ashtapadis are one of the most favorite items of any dance repertoire. I wish you will go and study now the Geet Govinda in detail and read the background of its philosophy. Thank you. Bye-bye.